There's a moment, somewhere between the second day without water and the slow creep of panic, where your brain starts reaching for things it learned from movies. Suck the venom out, drink your own urine, eat the snow, follow the deer to water, build a roaring bonfire and you'll stay warm all night. Every one of those instincts feels right because you've seen it work on a screen. Every one of them, in the field, has killed people. Not metaphorically, actually killed them. So let's walk through 5 of the most stubborn survival myths still floating around. Look at the chemistry and physics of why they fail, and replace them with what actually keeps a body alive. Start with urine. The myth says when you're out of water, your own urine will keep you going. Sounds resourceful, looks dramatic in films. The problem is what's in it. Healthy urine is roughly 2% dissolved solids, mostly urea, sodium, potassium, chloride. When you're already dehydrated, that concentration climbs higher because your kidneys are doing exactly what they're designed to do, pulling water back into your bloodstream and dumping the waste in a smaller volume. So the urine you produce when you need water most is the saltiest, most concentrated urine your body can make. Drinking it forces your kidneys to filter those same solutes a second time. And to do that, they need water. Water you don't have. The net result is faster dehydration, not slower. The US Army Field Manual, every wilderness medicine textbook worth reading, the survival instructors at SERE schools, all of them say the same thing. Don't drink it. If you have a clear plastic bag, a container, and sunlight, you can build a solar still and use urine as the wet feedstock, letting evaporation leave the salts behind and condensing clean water on the bag. That's the only safe path that involves urine, and it's about distillation, not drinking. Next, eating snow. This one feels harmless. Snow is frozen water. You're thirsty, it's right there. The trap is thermodynamics. To melt 1 gram of ice into 1 gram of water at 0 degrees Celsius, you need about 80 calories of heat. That's the latent heat of fusion, and your body is the furnace paying that bill. When you put a handful of snow in your mouth, your core has to push blood and metabolic heat into the tissue to phase change the ice. You lose heat from your throat, your chest, your stomach lining, and you lose it fast. In a cold weather survival situation, where you're already burning calories just to maintain 98.6, that heat debt can drop your core temperature into the early stages of hypothermia. Shivering starts at around 95 degrees core. Confusion and clumsiness follow at 93. People who eat snow to stay hydrated have died not from thirst, but from a body temperature that crashed because they kept feeding their stomach with ice. The fix is simple. Melt the snow first. A dark container in sunlight. A tin cup near a small fire. Even snow tucked inside a water bottle worn under your jacket against your body. All of those convert ice to water, using either the sun's energy or waste heat you were producing anyway. Drink it warm if you can. Your body keeps its calories. Now the big one. Number 3. Sucking venom out of a snake bite. This is the myth that refuses to die because every Western, every adventure film, every old Boy Scout manual from before about 1980 showed it as the obvious thing to do. The hero pulls out a knife, makes a crosscut over the fang marks, puts his mouth on the wound, and spits black venom into the dirt. The patient lives. Roll credits. The medical reality is the opposite of that scene in almost every measurable way. Snake venom is not a liquid sitting in a pocket under the skin, waiting to be drawn out. The instant a fang punctures, the venom enters the lymphatic system and the small blood vessels around the bite. Within seconds, depending on the species and the depth of the strike, a meaningful percentage of that venom is already moving through tissue toward the larger circulation. Studies using radio-labeled mock venom and extraction devices like the SERE extractor showed that even the best-case mechanical suction, applied within 3 minutes of the bite, removes less than 2% of the injected dose. Mouth suction is worse because human suction pressure is weaker than a vacuum pump, and you cannot get a perfect seal over a puncture wound on a curved limb. So, in exchange for that 2%, what do you take on? You introduce the bacteria from a human mouth, which is one of the most contaminated environments in the natural world, into a fresh, open wound.
You can develop a serious local infection on top of the envenomation. If you have any cut, ulcer, or even a recent dental procedure in your own mouth, you risk absorbing venom directly through the mucosa. The crosscut with the knife makes it worse, because now you've severed capillaries and lymph channels and given the venom a wider, faster route into the body. You've also created a wound that bleeds harder, which matters a lot if the venom is hemotoxic and already preventing your blood from clotting. The American College of Medical Toxicology, the Wilderness Medical Society, every major snakebite protocol published in the last 25 years, they all say the same thing. Do not cut. Do not suck. Do not apply ice. Do not apply a tight tourniquet. What you actually do is keep the patient calm. Immobilize the bitten limb at or slightly below heart level. Remove rings and watches before swelling sets in. Mark the leading edge of the swelling with a pen and write the time next to it. Get to definitive medical care as quickly as possible. Antivenom is the treatment. Everything else is a delay tactic at best and a complication generator at worst. If you remember nothing else from this video, remember that one. The movie scene is wrong, and people have lost fingers, hands, and lives because they trusted it. Number 4. Following animals to water. The logic seems sound. Animals need water. Animals know the terrain. Follow the deer and you'll find a creek. The flaw is biological. Humans are not deer. Many animals can drink from sources that would put a person in the dirt within hours. Carnivores get most of their water from the blood and tissue of prey and rarely visit open water at all. So following a coyote tells you nothing. Birds, especially seed eaters, do reliably visit water at dawn and dusk. But birds also drink from rain pools sitting in animal dung, from contaminated stock tanks, from algae-choked seeps that are loaded with cyanobacteria. Insects, particularly bees and ants, are slightly more useful because bees rarely fly more than a few miles from water, and a column of ants moving in a straight line up a tree often leads to a small reservoir. But none of those signals tell you the water is potable for a human. What you need to do every time is treat any water you find. Boil it for a full minute at sea level, 3 minutes above 6,000 feet, or run it through a filter rated for at least 0.2 microns to handle bacteria and protozoa, or use chemical treatment. 2 drops of unscented household bleach per quart. Wait 30 minutes. The animal led you to the puddle. The treatment makes the puddle safe. Number 5. The big bonfire. Cold night. You're shivering. The obvious move is to build the biggest fire you can and sit next to it. The physics says no. Heat from a fire transfers to you primarily through radiation, and radiative heat falls off with the square of the distance. A fire twice as big does not warm you twice as much if you can only sit a safe distance away from the flames. What actually happens with a single large fire is that one side of you cooks at maybe 110 degrees,
while the other side, facing the cold, dark, radiates heat away into the night sky and stays near ambient. You rotate like a kebab. You're still cold on the back half. The traditional solution, used by indigenous peoples across the boreal forest and refined by experienced winter campers, is to build several smaller fires arranged around your sleeping position, or to use a long fire layout combined with a heat reflector made of stacked logs or rocks behind you. 2 small fires, one in front and one behind, surround you with radiant heat from both sides and use a fraction of the wood. A reflector wall behind a single fire bounces the heat back toward you instead of letting it escape into the trees. You stay warmer. You sleep. And you don't spend the night cutting and feeding wood into a bonfire that's mostly heating the clouds. 5 myths. 5 bits of physics or chemistry or medicine that explain why they fail. The pattern across all of them is the same. Survival is not about looking decisive or doing what the movie hero did. It's about understanding the system you're inside, recognizing what your body actually needs, and choosing the action that respects the underlying science. Drink only water you've treated. Melt snow before you swallow it. Don't cut, don't suck. Get to a hospital. Don't trust an animal's gut to filter for yours. Build small, smart fires close to your body, not big ones across the clearing. Practice one of these before you ever need it. Build a solar still in your backyard this weekend with a sheet of plastic, a bowl, and a cup. Watch the water collect. Once you've seen the principle work with your own eyes, you will never again reach for the bottle of urine when you're scared and thirsty. That's the difference between knowing a fact and owning a skill. And it's the difference, on a bad day, between walking out and not.